Hello, this is Kim. Today I'm going to talk about Numbers chapter 27 and Numbers chapter 36, and it's about the daughters of Zelophehad. And in that story, that man, he died because of his sins, and he died without having any sons. And if I'm not mistaken, he had 5 daughters, and they were from the tribe of Manasseh. In chapter 36 in particular, before I get there, those daughters went to Moses and said that it wasn't fair for them to not get an inheritance of the land because their dad didn't have a father, which also meant that they didn't have anyone to take care of them, especially considering the way their society was built up at that time. And they went to the Lord about it, and the Lord agreed. And so they were entitled to land. In chapter 36, the men came to Moses and said, hey, but if those women marry someone else in another tribe, then the land will go to other tribe people. So it was mandated that those daughters had to go to marry within their tribe, and they agreed. It was no problem. They didn't have a problem with that, but initially, to be honest, I had a problem with it. It was like, what if they wanted to marry somebody else? Why they got to do all that? And then it was like, well, who do they want? Do they want the land, or do they want the woman? Yeah, I kind of took that personal, considering my situation, because I come with land. And so it took me a minute to think about that, and I asked God to give me clarity on it, and He did. And what I'll share with you is that what He showed me in my situation is I have dealt with 2 different types of men. I put it like that in my dating process, and it's been my finding that men without land of their own don't know really how to take care of it. They may know how to take care of me, but since I come with land, then that means that ultimately they don't know how to take care of all that regards me. Okay? But men that do come with land, I've seen that they know how to take care of their land, and then they're responsible for their land, but then they are responsible to help me with mine, and that speaks volumes there. So if I put it like this, we've seen people. You can people who park in their front lawns, their neighborhoods look different from those people who don't park in their front lawns. I'm talking about in the grass. And so a person without a house or without land, now I'm just speaking in general, this is not in totality, but in general, if you mix those 2 types of people, there's an unequal yoking there. So somebody without the land, they may be able to, they may come into your land, but they'll park in your yard. They'll turn your yard and your heart into a dust bowl. Okay, so that's what I gathered from that. But in it also, in the scheme of things, the way the people in Judah live was surely different from the way the people in Manasseh, and the way the people in Dan and Asher and so forth and so on lived. And it would dilute what that tribe was trying to communicate or pass down to their children, and ultimately lead to confusion. Listen, I need to tag on to this message, how I came to go ahead and release this today, because I come with land. I'm out here swinging on this swing. I have my gutters need to be cleaned, and I couldn't wait. I procrastinated long enough, and I did something real dangerous. I think I'll put the thumbnail as to what my little situation looked like. I took this, uh, I took this handy dandy step ladder, and I put it on top of this table, and I got up here to clean out these gutters. And in the end, this is part of all the junk that came out of the gutters. And I was thinking, as I was working on that step ladder, that this house needs a 6-foot ladder. And I thought about the reason why I didn't have a 6-foot ladder, because it used to. And while I was cleaning up down here, I see these patches on the deck where I tried to patch up some spots. I think about the person that told me about the patch material, and then I thought about that person was somebody who didn't steward his position well in my life. How about that? And then thoughts about Kurt Franklin and what he's going through with his son. And I had to stop going down that trail, because in the summary behind all those stories is, even in the daughters of Zelophehad, there was somebody in your life that was irresponsible, because the father died because of his sins. In the same way that those daughters were able to petition Moses, that man could have gone and petitioned Moses. That man could have gone to find husbands for his daughters. You know, they had arranged marriages and all that stuff. None of that happened. And instead of blaming people and trying to make people responsible for doing things in your life, and mad and wounded and continually broken because you see this and you see that, hey, let that go. Make your request to the Lord. When I started working on the interior of my house, and I took out, a few years ago, I took out a loan out of my 401k. And in the aftermath of that, I was just sharing my excitement with a friend, and he said, "Oh no, you don't do that, Kim. You don't take your money out your 401k. You don't do that. You know, what if something happened?" And so I told him, I said, "You know what?" I said, "I thought about that. I mean, you know, like, so 3 years before that, I thought I could do that, and because something could happen, and nothing happened. 2 years before, nothing happened. 1 year before, nothing happened. And if something does happen, then God, my husband, gonna have to take care of me." Isaiah 54:13 says that the Creator, God, our Maker, is our husbandman. Our ISHI, ISHI. He is our husbandman. And so I said that, you know, fervently, actually, and it was actually like I needed to say it, that God would take care of me, and that is exactly what He is doing. Whether you know or not, I'm one of those COVID-19 terminated people. My company downsized, and I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since April of 2020. And when I tell you that God has shown up in so many different ways, he's brought people in my life, stirred up a whole lot on the inside of me, And you know, I'm living. I'm here living and enjoying life, and not bemoaning a thing. So, I've been hesitant in saying this in a public type of manner because I'm just like everybody else. You just want to give good stories. You want to have the testimony. The over the my soul looks back and wonder how I got over the triumphant part. And so when the picture don't always line up, then you just keep your mouth closed. Well, okay. But just like in any relationship, between a husband and wife, everything ain't public and it ain't supposed to be public. Some stuff look good and some stuff don't look good. But really, really, God's got me. And he has you too. He has you too. Don't blame people. Don't play that blame game. People who did things in your life, thank them. People who didn't do things in your life, thank God. Thank God for bringing you to the point to where you know that it was him, that you relied on him. God has a way of making us worship properly, bringing us to the point to worship. When the children of Israel when all that they went through, that the Bible details from chapters, all that they went through was with the intention of taking them to a place to worship, not to work. They had been in slavery for long enough. It was taking them to worship. They learned how to build tents and take them down. They learned how to craft gold and jewelry and make draperies and all these things. Skill sets came out of their emancipation and in the midst of their worship. Boy, I just said something right there. Develop your skill set in worship. All that you do, whatever you do it heartily as unto the Lord. You are responsible for your life, which means you are responsible. So let your response show that you are willing and obedient, and that you'll eat of the good of the land. I bless you in the name of Jesus. Live.